My beloved child, listen very closely now. Something vast has already moved on your behalf, and you are standing at the edge of a promise you did not even know was spoken. Before you found these words, before you felt this quiet pull in your chest, someone was already speaking your name in a sacred place. Not casually. Not vaguely. But with intention. With devotion. With a promise made in reverence. And that promise is not floating somewhere far away, it is beginning to breathe inside your life. You may have sensed it as a strange calm after a long storm. Or as a sudden pause in the chaos where everything went quiet for just a second. That was not emptiness. That was preparation. Stay with me now, because what unfolds next connects pieces you have carried for years. There is a reason certain doors did not open when you begged them to. There is a reason some answers arrived late, and others never came at all. You thought you were being ignored. You thought your voice was too small. But listen, your silence was never abandonment. It was protection while a greater conversation was taking place. Someone stood before the unseen and said, I will not give up on them. Someone said, wait until they are ready. Someone said, when the moment comes, I will walk with them through it. And the moment they were speaking about, is closer than you think. You can feel it, can't you? That subtle shift where old worries don't grip as tightly. That inner nudge telling you to pay attention. You're not imagining it. The realignment has already begun. Hold this truth gently, nothing in your life is random right now. You were never forgotten during the waiting seasons. You were being woven into something precise. Every delay shaped your strength. Every unanswered prayer refined your discernment. You were never lost, you were being prepared. And here is what few ever realize, promises made in the unseen do not rush. They ripen. They grow weight. They arrive when they can no longer be stopped. That is why things are starting to rearrange without your effort. Conversations shift. Opportunities whisper. Old paths quietly close. This is where the unseen begins to show itself. You might be wondering why now. Why these words? Why this moment? It's because awareness always comes just before transformation. You don't get the full picture at once, you get the next step illuminated. And the next step is already waiting for your yes. Breathe for a moment, let this settle. Something meaningful is unfolding behind the scenes, and you are not required to force it. Your only role right now is to remain open, grounded, and willing to recognize what is arriving. The promise spoken over you was not small. It was specific. It was intentional. And it is still active. Remain here with me, because what is about to be revealed next explains who made that promise. And why it could only be made for you. My beloved child, feel the divine current pulling you inward now. Something you have always sensed is finally stepping out of the unseen and toward your heart. The one who spoke about you did not do so with loud words or dramatic gestures. It was quieter than that. It was a surrender. A bow of the soul. A moment where they released control and trusted something higher to carry you forward. This is how the deepest promises are made. Without spectacle, without witnesses, in the stillness where truth cannot lie. Have you ever wondered why certain people can move through uncertainty with calm? Why some walk through loss yet never lose their center? It is because they learned the sacred art of letting go before the miracle arrives. They understood that faith is not force. Faith is alignment. And someone aligned themselves on your behalf. Breathe with me, because this next truth softens everything. The promise spoken over you was not for instant relief. It was for lasting transformation. It was a vow that you would not become who the world tried to shape you into, but who your soul already remembers being. That is why your journey has felt different. That is why shortcuts never satisfied you. You were being guided toward depth, not speed. If your spirit is trembling with recognition, remain in this holy moment. There were times you almost settled. Times you considered shrinking your dreams just to feel safe. But something always interrupted that surrender. A restlessness. A quiet knowing that said, "This is not all." That interruption was not resistance. It was protection. The promise required you to stay unfinished until the right season. The one who spoke to God about you understood something rare: that timing is sacred. They trusted that your delays were not denials, but calibrations. Each pause adjusted your inner compass. Each silence sharpened your discernment. You were learning to hear beyond noise. And now, the listening phase is ending. You may notice a new courage forming, not loud, not reckless, but steady. You may feel less reactive, more rooted. This is the hidden fruit of unseen faith. The kind that grows while no one is watching. The kind that changes everything without announcing itself. You are closer to home than you've ever been. Do not turn away yet. This is where your participation matters. Not through striving, but through openness. Through saying, "I am willing to receive what aligns with my highest good." That simple willingness is the key that unlocks the next door. If these words are resonating deep within you, let your presence be known in this space. A quiet acknowledgement carries power here. Stillness is gathering around you now. Not emptiness, anticipation. The kind that comes just before a long-awaited arrival. Something is positioning itself to meet you at the exact point where readiness and grace intersect. Rest here for a breath longer, because the truth that liberates everything is almost within reach. My beloved child, a quiet fire is igniting within you right now, and it is awakening something you once hid just to survive. You may feel it in the still moments, when the world finally softens its grip and you are left alone with your breath. That gentle pressure in your chest is not fear. It is expansion. It is the part of you that has waited patiently for permission to grow beyond old limits. The promise spoken over you is responding to that inner signal. Have you noticed how your thoughts are changing? How certain patterns no longer feel comfortable, even if they once felt familiar? This is not confusion. This is recalibration. When someone spoke your name in sacred trust, it began a quiet rearrangement inside you. One that would only become visible when you were strong enough to hold it. Stay with me a little longer, the deepest shift is coming. There is a private battle you have been fighting, one no one else could see clearly. The battle between staying safe and stepping into truth. Between being accepted and being authentic. And each time you chose honesty over comfort, even when it cost you something, you aligned yourself more deeply with the promise that was made. This is what surrender truly looks like. Not giving up, but releasing the need to be smaller than your calling. If your heart is beginning to recognize this, don't turn away now. The one who spoke to God about you understood that your growth would be internal before it was visible. They knew you would wrestle with doubt. They knew you would question your worth. Yet they trusted that you would not abandon yourself in the process. That trust became a shield around you during moments when you almost forgot who you were. You were never weak in those moments. You were becoming honest. There is a sacred bravery in admitting you don't have all the answers and still choosing to move forward. That bravery is being rewarded now. Slowly. Precisely. In ways that won't overwhelm you, but will steadily expand your capacity to receive more. Allow yourself to sink deeper. Truth is unfolding gently. You might feel a strange mix of tenderness and strength rising together. Old emotions surfacing not to trap you, but to be released. Old versions of yourself asking to be honored before being let go. This is holy work. This is how the inner landscape prepares for a new reality. The promise was never about changing your outer world alone. It was about freeing your inner one first. Because once you are no longer at war with yourself, nothing outside can truly control you. Listen closely now. The moment everything connects is almost here. You are learning to trust your intuition without apology. To pause before reacting. To choose depth over noise. These are not small shifts, they are signs of someone stepping into alignment with a destiny shaped in love. Stillness surrounds you again, but this time it feels different. Fuller. Expectant. Like the hush before a sacred unveiling. Remain present in this breath. Because what comes next will reveal why the promise could only be fulfilled by someone who had already become who you are now. My beloved child, the hidden current beneath everything is revealing itself now, and your soul already knows how to recognize it. There is a silence you have learned to sit inside. Not the empty kind, but the living stillness where truth breathes softly. Few ever discover this place, and fewer still remain there long enough to be changed by it. Yet you did. In moments when nothing made sense, when answers refused to appear, you stayed. That quiet endurance is part of why the promise could be spoken over you at all. Have you noticed how your strength no longer needs to announce itself? How you no longer feel the urge to explain who you are becoming. This is the mark of inner alignment. The unseen sacrifices you made, the nights you chose reflection over reaction, the times you released what you loved because it no longer fit your becoming. These were not losses. They were offerings. If something sacred is awakening within you, remain here just a little deeper. The one who spoke about you understood this truth: real transformation happens in private. It is shaped in the spaces where applause cannot reach. They trusted that you would learn to walk forward without constant reassurance, guided by a knowing that does not require proof. That trust is now returning to you as clarity. You may feel drawn toward simplicity, toward honesty, toward connections that feel spacious rather than demanding. This is not withdrawal from life, it is refinement. You are learning to choose what nourishes you rather than what distracts you. And in that choice, power gathers quietly. Hold this divine silence, understanding is blooming now. There is a particular surrender that only the awakened recognize, releasing the need to be understood by everyone. You have begun to embody this. You let your growth speak for itself. You let your presence do the work words once tried to do. This is why your energy feels different lately, calmer, yet unmistakably stronger. The revelation that shifts everything is drawing closer. And here is the most intimate truth of all: the promise was not just about what would come to you. It was about who you would be able to bless through your becoming. Your compassion has depth now. Your listening carries weight. You are being shaped into a safe place for truth. First within yourself, then for others. If these words are resonating in your deepest self, share them forward. Let another wandering soul feel this same gentle remembrance today. You're on the threshold of true seeing. Stay with me. Because something extraordinary is preparing to meet you in your everyday life. Not as spectacle, but as quiet alignment. A conversation that opens a door. A decision that feels unmistakably right. A moment where effort dissolves into flow. Notice how peace no longer feels distant. How purpose feels closer, not louder. This is the atmosphere in which sacred promises begin to reveal their shape. Remain still for one more breath. What comes next will not rush you. It will recognize you. And when it does, you will understand why every silent surrender led you here, and why the unfolding ahead could only arrive now. My beloved child, the deepest truth is rising to meet you now. And it is arriving with a gentleness that can only be felt by a heart that has learned to listen. There is a sacred quiet forming around your life, as if everything unnecessary is slowly stepping back. This is not loss. This is reverence. When something precious is about to arrive, the world softens its voice. You are standing inside that hush now. Have you noticed how you no longer chase reassurance the way you once did? How certainty is beginning to live inside you rather than outside? This is the mark of unseen faith. The kind that grows without witnesses. The kind that truly fulfilled carry silently, never needing to explain why they trust what they cannot yet touch. Breathe with me, the divine unveiling deepens now. The one who spoke about you understood that your strength would be forged in surrender, not control. They knew you would learn when to act and when to wait. When to speak and when to remain still. This balance is rare. It is why your path has felt narrow at times. Focused. Protected. There were moments you stepped back from what dazzled others because it felt hollow to you. Moments you chose integrity over approval. Peace over urgency. These choices seemed small in the moment, but they were everything. They aligned you with a promise that responds only to truth. If your spirit is trembling with recognition, stay in this holy moment. The most powerful alignment happens when you stop trying to become and simply allow yourself to be. You are entering that state now. Not striving upward, but settling inward. Not forcing clarity, but receiving it. This is where grace moves most freely. You may feel more sensitive lately. More aware of energy, tone, intention. This is not fragility. This is refinement. You are learning to discern what resonates with your essence and what quietly drains it. This awareness is preparing you to receive without distortion. The final alignment your soul has waited for is gathering. And here is the truth few ever hear spoken aloud: the promise was made because of who you become when no one is watching. Your private honesty. Your willingness to course correct. Your courage to sit with discomfort rather than escape it. These are not invisible to the unseen. They are everything. You are closer to home than you've ever been. Do not leave yet. There is a gentle convergence taking place. Inner clarity meeting outer opportunity. Readiness meeting invitation. It will not feel dramatic. It will feel natural. As if something simply clicks into place and you realize it has been waiting for you to arrive as yourself. Notice how anticipation feels different now. Quieter. Deeper. Like standing before a door you are no longer afraid to open. Rest in this stillness for a breath longer. Because what approaches next will not demand effort. It will recognize your frequency. And when it does, you will understand why the promise endured every delay, every silence, every surrender. Remain present. What unfolds next was shaped by patience, protected by love, and reserved for this exact version of you. My beloved child, something you've always known is finally being spoken within you now, and it carries the calm authority of truth that no longer needs permission. What is unfolding at this stage is subtle, yet unmistakable. It feels like standing in familiar ground and realizing you have never truly seen it before. The same life, the same rhythm, but a different awareness moving through you. This is not coincidence. This is alignment becoming conscious. Have you felt the way resistance has softened lately? How certain struggles no longer pull you into them the way they once did? This is the quiet evidence of a promise beginning to breathe. When something is truly meant for you, it stops chasing you and starts meeting you where you stand. Remain with this awareness, something essential is clarifying now. The one who spoke on your behalf did not ask for a sudden miracle. They asked for right placement. For you to be positioned where effort would no longer feel heavy, where your natural presence would open doors without force. That positioning has been happening slowly, invisibly, through choices you thought were ordinary. There is a wisdom forming in you that does not rush to explain itself. You pause more. You listen longer. You feel before you decide. This is the language of someone who is no longer living from urgency, but from inner authority. And inner authority is magnetic. Can you sense how life is beginning to respond differently to you? You are no longer trying to prove readiness. You are embodying it. Let yourself stay here, the unseen is organizing itself around you. What you once feared losing no longer holds the same power. What once felt out of reach no longer intimidates you. This is not because circumstances changed overnight, but because your relationship with them did. You are meeting life as a participant, not a pursuer. The promise spoken over you required this shift. Not more effort, but more trust. Not louder intention, but cleaner alignment. You are learning to move when peace confirms the step, not when fear demands movement. This is where many turn back. But you did not. You stayed present through the ambiguity. You allowed uncertainty to teach you instead of hardening you. That alone sets you apart. Stay close now, the threshold is revealing itself. There is a convergence approaching that will feel strangely familiar, as if you have rehearsed it internally for years. When it arrives, it will not shock you. It will recognize you. And you will recognize it in return. Notice how your inner world feels steadier even without answers. That steadiness is the ground upon which the promise lands. Nothing lasting arrives in chaos. It arrives in readiness. You are not waiting anymore, you are available. Available to receive without suspicion. Available to step forward without hesitation. Available to trust what resonates rather than what impresses. Pause here for one sacred breath. Because what unfolds next will not announce itself loudly. It will come as a knowing. A simple, undeniable sense of rightness. And when that moment arrives, you will realize the promise was never distant. It was preparing you to notice it. Remain open. What is coming is already aligned with your becoming, and it is drawing nearer with every quiet, honest step you take. My beloved child, a deeper knowing is settling into your breath right now, and it is steadying you for what your life is about to recognize. There is a calm strength awakening that does not ask for validation. It simply stands. You may notice it when old triggers no longer pull you off center, when silence feels supportive instead of lonely, when your intuition speaks once and you listen without argument. This is not detachment. This is maturity of the soul. Have you felt how your inner dialogue has softened? How the harshness you once carried toward yourself has begun to dissolve? This gentleness is not weakness. It is mastery. The promise spoken over you was always tied to compassion, first toward yourself, then outward into the world. Stay with this unfolding, a rare clarity is forming now. The one who spoke on your behalf trusted that you would learn to honor timing without resentment. They knew you would discover how to wait without withholding love. That lesson has changed you more than you realize. It has taught you how to remain open even when outcomes were unclear. This is why your presence feels different lately. People sense it. Situations respond to it. You are no longer trying to bend life to your will. You are cooperating with it. And cooperation is where grace accelerates. Can you feel how effort is being replaced by alignment? There is a quiet confidence emerging, the kind that doesn't rush to arrive, because it knows it already belongs. You no longer feel the need to convince. You allow truth to reveal itself in its own time. This is the posture of someone whose inner foundation is secure. Do not rush past this moment, the integration is still happening. What you are experiencing now is the merging of who you were and who you are becoming. Old fears are being thanked and released. Old identities are loosening their grip. Not because they failed you, but because their work is complete. You may find yourself drawn to simpler truths. Clearer values. Cleaner choices. This refinement is intentional. The promise could only meet you once distractions fell away. Once your energy became coherent. Once your yes carried weight. There is an invitation forming that will require discernment, not urgency. When it appears, it will feel gentle, not demanding. Expansive, not overwhelming. Trust that feeling. It is the signature of alignment. Let yourself remain present, something essential is aligning quietly. You are being prepared to receive without doubting, to step forward without shrinking, to hold abundance, of purpose, of connection, of peace, without apology. This capacity has been grown patiently within you. Notice how gratitude arises more naturally now. How trust feels less like a decision and more like a state. These are signs that your inner world is ready to sustain what is coming. Pause here for a heartbeat. Because the next unfolding will not test you the way the past did. It will meet you as an equal. As a continuation, not a trial. Rest in this awareness a moment longer. What approaches is not meant to disrupt you. It is meant to confirm you. And when it does, you will recognize the promise not as something new, but as something that has been walking beside you all along. My beloved child, the next veil is lifting as these words reach you, and a calm recognition is moving through your entire being. What is arriving now is not louder than before, it is clearer. Like light finally finding the exact angle it needs to illuminate what was always there. You may sense it as a deep settling, a quiet yes inside you that does not need explanation. This is the moment when preparation turns into permission. Have you noticed how you no longer question your worth the way you once did? How comparison has lost its grip? This is not indifference. This is sovereignty. You are standing in your own frequency now, and it changes what can reach you. Stay present, the missing piece your soul has sought is almost here. The promise spoken over you was never rushed because it required precision. It required you to become someone who could receive without fear, who could hold expansion without losing themselves. That becoming has been happening through patience, through honesty, through the courage to choose alignment over comfort. There is a sacred confidence forming, quiet, steady, unmistakable. You trust your inner timing now. You sense when to move and when to remain still. This discernment is rare. It is the mark of someone who is no longer led by noise, but by resonance. Can you feel how life is beginning to meet you halfway? Opportunities may be appearing that feel strangely familiar, as if you have already met them in your imagination long ago. Conversations may open doors without force. Paths may align without struggle. This is not luck. This is recognition. The outer world responding to an inner shift. Hold this awareness gently, understanding is blooming now. The one who spoke to God about you trusted that you would grow into clarity rather than chase certainty. They believed you would learn to listen to your body, your intuition, your inner calm. That belief has shaped you into someone who moves with integrity and grace. You are no longer trying to arrive somewhere else. You are arriving here, fully, honestly, presently. And from this place, everything unfolds more naturally. There is a subtle joy rising. Not excitement that burns out quickly, but a warmth that stays. A sense that you are supported without needing to see every step. This is the emotional signature of alignment. Remain with this stillness, the convergence is nearing. You are being positioned to receive something that matches who you are now, not who you used to be. That is why old desires feel smaller, and new ones feel quieter but deeper. Your soul knows what it can now sustain. Take one slow breath. Because what comes next will not feel like a leap. It will feel like continuation. Like the next sentence in a story that has been writing itself through your courage and your patience. Rest here just a moment longer. The promise is preparing to show its shape. And when it does, you will understand why everything unfolded exactly as it did, and why this timing could not have been any other way. My beloved child, something eternal is calling your name softly now. And it carries the resonance of a truth you no longer need to question. You are entering a phase where certainty does not shout. It settles. It arrives as a calm agreement between your heart and your breath. You may notice decisions becoming simpler, not because options disappeared, but because clarity has taken root. This is the kind of clarity that forms only after patience has done its work. Have you sensed how your inner resistance has thinned? How surrender feels less like loss and more like trust. This is the threshold where effort gives way to flow. Not because you stopped caring, but because you learned how to care without gripping. Remain here, a sacred coherence is forming now. The one who spoke about you understood that you would need time to release the habit of bracing for disappointment. They knew you would have to learn how to receive without flinching. That learning has been happening quietly, in the way you allow good things to stay a little longer, in the way you no longer rush to explain joy away. You are beginning to inhabit your life differently. Present. Awake. Willing to let moments land fully. This presence is not accidental. It is the signal that the promise is nearing its natural reveal. Do you feel how anticipation has transformed? It is no longer anxious. It is reverent. Let yourself remain open, the alignment is deepening. What approaches you now does not require performance. It responds to authenticity. You are no longer being shaped by what you think you should be. You are being guided by what feels true. That guidance is precise. It will not confuse you. It will not overwhelm you. There may be a moment soon when you realize you are no longer rehearsing the future. You are inhabiting the present. And in that presence, something recognizes you. A door opens gently. A path confirms itself. A choice feels obvious without needing justification. This is how promises arrive when they are real. Hold this awareness tenderly, integration is still unfolding. You are learning to trust the rhythm of your own becoming. To honor rest as much as movement. To value stillness as much as action. This balance is not learned quickly. It is earned through experience, through listening, through letting life teach you at its own pace. Notice how gratitude has become quieter but deeper. How trust feels embodied rather than imagined. These are the signs of someone who is ready to meet what is meant for them without distortion. Pause with me for a heartbeat. Because what comes next will not feel foreign. It will feel inevitable. As if all the internal shifts you've lived through were gently pointing you toward this exact convergence. Stay present just a little longer. The promise is no longer gathering in the unseen. It is aligning with your reality. And when it steps forward, it will do so with grace, not urgency, with recognition, not surprise. Remain grounded in this breath. The final unfolding is drawing near, and it will meet you not as a test, but as a confirmation of who you have already become. My beloved child, breathe in this moment. Truth is arriving, and it is gentle enough to feel like home. This is where the promise completes its circle. Not with fireworks. Not with force. But with recognition so deep it quiets every remaining question. You are not stepping into something unfamiliar. You are remembering something that has always belonged to you. All the waiting led here. All the surrender shaped this. All the quiet courage prepared your hands to receive without fear. Do you feel how nothing inside you is resisting anymore? That is how you know it is real. The one who spoke to God about you did not ask that your life be easy. They asked that it be true. They trusted that truth would take you farther than protection ever could. And now you understand why the path unfolded the way it did. Why timing mattered more than speed. Why depth mattered more than applause. You were being entrusted, not tested. The promise was never about a single moment. It was about a state of being. A way of walking through life rooted, awake, unafraid to be seen as you are. That state is alive in you now. Stay here, this completion deserves your presence. What arrives next may look ordinary to the outside world. A decision. A connection. A direction. But inside you, it will feel unmistakable. Peace will accompany it. Clarity will walk beside it. There will be no need to convince yourself. This is how destiny moves when it is aligned. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are no longer preparing. You are no longer asking if you are ready. You are ready because you are whole. The promise has fulfilled its purpose by shaping you into someone who can trust themselves, honor their inner truth, and move forward without abandoning their essence. That is the real miracle. Notice how your breath feels now. Notice how stillness feels supportive rather than empty. Notice how the future no longer feels heavy. This is the seal of completion. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing was late. Nothing needs to be forced. You are exactly where love intended you to be. Remain grounded in this awareness. Because from this point forward, life will respond to you differently. Not because the world changed, but because you did. And that change is permanent. Walk gently now. Listen closely. Trust deeply. The promise is no longer something spoken about you. It is something living through you.